Nasalli ala Rasul Kareem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask Him send peace and blessing, His beloved and our beloved Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Just last week there's one chapter, we covered it a bit last week and then I'll just recover it again, regarding the takbirat of Eid. So that is mustahab to increase the takbir on the night of Eid al-Adha and its day, and to make takbir on the day of Nahar, day of Qurbani, and on the Ayyam al-Tashriq, the days of Tashriq, which is the 11th, 12th and 13th. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, after أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, لن ينال الله لحومهما ولا دماؤها ولكن يناله التقوى منكم كذلك سخرها لكم لتكبروا الله على ما هداكم وبشر المحسنين. That the flesh of the Qurbani, the meats and the blood does not reach him, but it is taqwa. That is meaning what Allah wants from us is the taqwa, is the obligation and the obedience. And Allah has made this, put it under your control, so that you may make takbir of Allah, magnify the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what He has guided you to, and give glad tidings to the doers of good. And remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the appointed days. Meaning these referring to days of Hajj and these days of Ayyam al-Tashriq. Imam Malik Rahimahullah said, the matter according to us is that takbir in the days of Tashriq, meaning the days after Eid, or the days of Eid, the Eid al-Adha, is after every salat, and that is takbir with the Imam and the people after every salat, from the Zuhur of Yawm al-Nahar, the day of Nahar. And he says that the takbir of Ayyam al-Tashriq is according for the men and the women, and anybody praying Jamaat or they're by themselves, whether they're in Mina or wherever else they may be. All of this is wajib for them. Shah Waliullah says that mentioning takbir in the context of the explaining of the Hadi, the Qurbani, that it is mustahab, because the ayat mentions takbir in the ayat in context of the flesh and the thing. So that means that is mustahab to takbir in these days. And it doesn't mean just a takbir at the point of slaughtering, right? Because that's mentioned, فَذْكُرْ اسْمَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهَا, that do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on it, meaning that when you slaughter an animal. And this is also the most well-known view from Imam Shafi rahimahullah, that to make takbir, and also with the nafil salat as well, to make takbir at the end of it, and also salat that are missed as well, qada salat, right? And a individual prayer does this, and a woman does this also. And the Hanafi say that its condition is the iqamat, and it should be in a town, and it should be the farz salat, and it should be a jamaat, mustahabba, that is mustahab. And the beginning of it from the salat of fajr, from the day of Arafah, right? And the end of it is, according to the view of Imam Hanifa rahmah, the end of salat asr, the day of Nahar, the day of Qurban, day of Eid, right? And according to the view of his companions, meaning Imam Muhammad, Imam Abu Yusuf, it is from Salat al-Asr, it's until Salat al-Asr, the last days of Tashriq. And in Alamgiri is mentioned that the fatwa and the practice of the Ammatul Amsar, majority of the cities or towns of the Muslims, and in all ages, is their view. Imam Abu Hanifa's students' view is actually taken in terms of the practice of the cities and towns of the Muslims through all ages and times and places. This is how it's done. And this is also the view of Imam Shafi rahimahullah, and in Minhaj mentioned, and the amal is on this, and the sifa of this description of this, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Lillahi alhamd. The next section is now to do with the Udhiya, which is related. So the Udhiya, Qurbani, is sunnah. Imam Malik said the Udhiya is sunnah, it's not wajib. And I don't like that somebody who has the strength to pay for it, has the money for it, that he should leave it. He believes it's sunnah, but if the money, then you should make an effort to do it. Even the sunnah, you should make an effort to do it. Shah Waliullah said, and upon this is Imam Shafi rahimahullah, and Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah says this is wajib. The chapter on the Udhiya being sunnah kifaya li kulli ahli bayt, that it is sunnah kifaya for the household, meaning that one is done for the household. Imam Malik narrated from Ammar bin Sayyad that Ata ibn Yasar informed that Abu Ayyub al-Ansari radiallahu anhu companion of the Prophet ﷺ, informed him that we used to do one sheep, right? We used to do one sheep, Udhiya, and a man used to slaughter one for himself and on behalf of his household. Then people started to do, you could say, brag about doing more, until it became a point of as a point of bragging, that if you did this. Imam Malik, meaning people were insincere they were doing it later on, it became a competition to show. And you see that a little bit, we see that a lot today, especially in Pakistan, how people, the Qurbani is a source of, it's not, the Qurbani is like a prestige thing. And you see how the videos that are made now and so forth, of how they decorate and so forth, and it's not like the actual ibadah is lost. And he's saying that time people started to, this is human nature, right? So this exists today as well. Imam Malik narrated from Shihab that he said, never did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam slaughter except ma nahar Rasulullah anhu wa an ahli bayt illa badana, except for a camel, one camel, or one cow. Imam Malik said, I'm not sure which one it is, but a large animal. In a large animal we can do 7 parts, which is a camel or a cow, right? So, but Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on behalf of his household always did a large animal, never did a small animal, according to this narration. Shah Waliullah says, quoting Al-Mahalli, that a camel or a cow is sufficient for 7, will fulfill, and a sheep is for 1. And if he does 1, it suffices for him. So in the Shafi'i, like one animal, one sheep is enough for the whole family, for all of them. And so he goes, one cow, like they're doing a joint animal, like even if they do it as a family, then they have a share in that as well. And he said it's if a person doesn't have a family, it's sunnah specifically for him, the one who doesn't have a household. And according to the Hanafis, a single sheep will not suffice. Each adult person will have to do their own one, right? And a cow or a camel will only suffice, a cow or a camel will only suffice for 7 people, 7 adults that have to do it. And they interpret the above narrations that Udhiya is only wajib on a ghani, rich person. And he goes, and the majority of the people that were rich in that time were the owner of the house. He had the wealth, he owned the wealth. Like he's got the bank, like it's in today's terms, let's say he's the only person that has money. He's got kids. They don't have money. Like the father has the money, it's his bank account. And it's possible the wife might be poor, but the husband might have money himself. He's got all the money, let's say. So it's only wajib on him. So that's how they interpreted that, why one person was doing it on behalf of the household. It wasn't really, the way they interpret it is not really on behalf of the household. He's only doing it for himself. But it represents the household because he's the only person in the house had money. Therefore it's only wajib on him. While the others say no, the sheep that was done, and the example was given, that the Sayyid Khudri narration that was given, that the one sheep was not just for himself, but it was for, they say no, it was for the whole, it was on behalf of the whole household. The chapter on sharing in an animal, 7, like a cow or a camel, can it be done for people that are not from the same family? Imam Malik narrated from Abu Zubair al-Makki, who narrated from Jabir bin Abdullah, that he said, we slaughtered with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in together the day of Hudaybiyah 1 camel on behalf of 7, and a cow on behalf of 7. And Shah Waliullah says this is the view of the ulama, that here is talking about the for Hajj. And the Udhiya is made, analogy is made, qiyas is made on the, because some of the ahkam are coming from the animal that is used for Hajj. So some ahkam are coming from that chapter. There also an animal is slaughtered. So can you do it for a group? So the ahkam of that is taken from there and applied to the qurbani, which is not related to Hajj. Like you're doing qurbani all over the world, Udhiya, while there's a hadith which is related. So it's analogy is made on that. There's no udhiya on the fetus. Imam Malik on behalf of the fetus. If a lady is pregnant, Imam Malik narrated from Nafi', who narrated from Abdullah bin Umar, radiallahu anhuma, that there is no udhiya for what is in the belly of the mother or of a woman. And this is the Shah Waliullah said, this is the view of the ulama. Imam Malik narrated from Amr ibn al-Haris, who narrated from Ubayd ibn Fayruz, and who narrated from Bara bin Azib radiallahu anhu, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked about what should be refrained from in an animal. Like what sort of animal should not be used for qurbani? So the four things that are famous in the hadith, that the crippled animal, so it's lame animal, or a crippled animal, the one that one eye is injured, right? The one that is sick and its sickness is obvious, and the ajfa, the fourth animal, is the one that has no marrow in its emaciated animal, like it's so skinny that it's even its marrow, there's no marrow in its bones, like it's a totally like emaciated animal, or there's no fat on it, like it's a totally sick animal. So there you go. That these will not suffice. If you give these animals for udhiyah, for qurbani, these will not be sufficient. And it's not permissible to use a camel or a cow that's less than 2 and that's less than thani, and thani from a camel is that is not 5 years old, and for a cow and for a sheep that is less than 2 years old. And wajaza min adani. So basically there's different ages, like it has to grow to a certain level before you can present it for sacrifice. Like you can't get a newborn or an animal that is like below its age that can present for sacrifice. Imam Malik has narrated that you don't sacrifice until the Imam, in Siraf al-Imam, the Imam finishes Salat. Right? Your Eid al-Adha is after the thing. So Imam Malik narrated from Yahya bin Sa'id, who narrated from Bashir ibn Yasar, that Burda ibn Nayaz, he slaughtered did the Udhiya before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of Eid al-Adha. And then he thought that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had ordered him to go to do it again. He says, I don't have except for one sheep or goat. He goes, even if you have one, go do it, like slaughter it. Like that's all I could get to slaughter. He goes, like basically do it again. That he did it before the time, so he had to do another one. Imam Malik narrated that Yahya bin Sa'id, that Abbad ibn Tamim, that narrated from Nuwayb ibn Ashqar, that he did a slaughter before going out to Eid al-Adha, and he mentioned this to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said to repeat it after the Eid Salat, because the time of it is after the Eid, after the Imam's coming back, finish it, or the Eid Salat is done, then after the Qurban is done. The meaning of the Shah Waliullah said, the meaning of this is that the Hanafi say that it's not permissible to udhiya until you pray with the Imam or his representative. Imam here means the Khalifa or the Muslim ruler who is governor, and or his Naib, the one that's in his place. And this is according to the ruling of the people of the cities. And as for the village, this is for the people of the city. As for the people of the village, they can do it after Fajr, after the start of Fajr time, or Imam Shafi Rahimahullah said that is not permitted udhiya until the sun has risen, like the Ishraq time, Duha time, so the Eid time that we pray, until that time. So even though, because they're in villages, there's no Eid Salat on them, right? So they're too cut off from the, so imagine if you're in a place there's no Eid Salat, then who they're waiting for, how do they figure out? So then you have to give them a time. So basically mid-morning, like after the Eid, the timing of the Eid Salat, right? The earliest time of Eid Salat, after that they can, and the time to do 2 rakats, and Imam Shafi Rahimahullah said that according to pray 2 rakat and do the khutbah, light 2 short khutbahs, then it's, so basically waits a little bit to mid-morning and then do their, so even though they have no Eid Salat. The Eid Salat is, the Udhiya, the Qurbani is permitted on the day of Eid and Yawm Nahr and the 2 days after. Imam Malik narrated from Nafi and Abdullah bin Umar that he said, Al-Adha Yawman is 2 days after the Eid, Yawm al-Adha, after the day of Eid. Imam Malik, that is reached him that Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu was said like this also. And Shah Waliullah says, wa alayhi Hanafiya wa the Shafiya, that the Hanafis are upon this and the Shafis are upon this, that the time for the Udhiya extends to the setting of the sun at the end of the days of Tashriq, according to the Hadith of Hakim, which indicates to this. The Sunnah of Udhiya, Imam Malik narrated from Abdullah bin Umar that Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhuma, that he slaughtered once in Medina. Imam Malik narrates from Imam Nafi. Imam Nafi is the freed slave of Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu, he's a Sahabi. Right? So this is very early on. This book, because of these type of narrations, and also Imam Malik is in Madinah Munawwarra, and he's Imam of Darul Hijra, and then the Muwatta, the Hadith collection of his, because in those people that, this group, this lady here now, she's becoming famous in Melbourne. She's a Munkar Hadith, rejecter of Hadith, Quraniyun, rejecter of Hadith. These are different ajib things people come up, nonsensical things. She rejects Hadith. She's teaching one of the Islamic schools in Melbourne. And suppose, I'm not sure, inshallah she's not there. I don't know what misguidance, why people go down this road. But the Muwatta is one of the biggest proofs, hujjah, against them. Because you have the Sahabas, children, grandchildren, a whole city, right? And that city is, the ulama of that, the fuqaha of that verified, 70 ulama. Imam Malik didn't teach until 70 ulama gave shahada witness, and Imam Malik's book, 70 ulama signed off on it, basically. And to get 70 ulama to agree on something, 70 Muslims to agree on something, ittifaq on something, is not a easy thing. Intelligent people of that time, they agreed. And if anybody did something wrong, these are children, grandchildren, the community of Madinah Munawwarra is the old Muslim community, city. And they agreed, there's ittifaq on that. And the scholars of that city, who are mostly children, grandchildren, free slaves, the Sahaba, they agreed that this book. If you look at all the Hadith books after it, they are in the orbit of Muwatta. Even Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, which came afterwards. Because you can attack that, but how come that everything Imam Bukhari is saying, Imam Malik, Muslim is saying, Imam Tirmidhi, all those big Imams, it's still in the orbit of Muwatta? Because it's coming from the same source of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's why. So in a way, like even the books that come after, the collection of Hadith, because Sahaba spread all over the world, Tabi'een spread all over the world, Islam spread like throughout, four corners of the world. So those Imams, they traveled and collected all the chain, and they checked the sihha and checked everybody and the reputation of everyone, make sure that these hadiths are authentic and they're proper. And the top of that book is Imam Sahih Bukhari, Imam Bukhari, because the conditions that he put was so strict, and the amount of hard work that he did to get that. His book is still in the orbit of Muwatta, right? Because Muwatta is so early on. It's so early, and it's got this backing off. You can disagree with Imam, what Shah Waliullah said, we can disagree with Imam Malik's istinbatat, his derivations, the masail. His fiqh can be disagreed with and differed with. But you cannot throw his narrations out. Because this is corroborated, and corroboration is a sign of authentication. Like it cannot be that all these people agree, all these imams agree, and so forth, and then a whole city, scholarship, a whole city has backed this up. And so that's why, like when you hear this chain, Imam Malik narrated it for Imam Nafi', it's called the golden chain. The most strongest chain in hadith is this, that Imam Malik narrated from Imam Nafi', narrated from Abdullah bin Umar. And Abdullah bin Umar is unique, Umar bin Khattab's son, and he's a Sahabi himself. And he's known for his extreme, in the positive sense, imitation of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That to the point that Aisha radiallahu anha, big Sahaba, other Sahaba as well, verified his narrations. His istiqamat. He was known for, despite all the fitna and problems happening, he was known for his istiqamat like 40, 50 years after Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So, like he was very particular. So he said, قال نافع أمر, and we had many examples that Imam Malik, he says, Nafi said that Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu said to me to buy a kabsh, a ram, that like a good ram that's like got horns, and then to slaughter it the day of Eid al-Adha, fi musalla nas, at the Eid al-Adha, Eid grounds. Imam Nafi said, I did that for him. Then he came to Abdullah, I told Abdullah bin Umar, he shaved his hair when the sheep, the ram was slaughtered, and he was sick. Imam Nafi said that Abdullah bin Umar used to say, ليس حلاق رأسي بواجع على من ضحى وقد فعل عبد الله بن عمر. Because he said, even though he did it, he shaved his hair as well, he had a haircut, right, on that day. It resembles, people in Hajj, right? But he said, look how particular he is. Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu said, but this is not part of, ليس حلاق بواجب على من ضحى. That the person who does the udhiya, qurbani, he doesn't have to shave his hair. Like very particular, people doesn't connect his action, because he's known for imitation. So he was doing it, but he just wanted to separate so people understand. I say that الكبش الفحيل أحسن عند العلماء وإن كان موجود لا يكره ذبح في المصلى أحسن إظهار الإشعار الدين. So he said that it is not makruh. So such an animal is like a good animal that's presented. It's done slaughtered in the musalla because all the Muslims are doing their udhiya, and this is idhar li sha'air. The symbols of Islam are being publicly displayed, like it's not hidden, right? Like adhan, right, and so forth. And it's mustahab according to Imam Shafi that whoever wants to do the udhiya, the qurbani, that he should not touch his hair or nails in the ashr, the ashr is al-hijjah, from the first al-hijjah, that if he intends to do udhiya for the 10 days, then according to Imam Shafi'i, it's mustahab not to cut the nails and the hair, to be in unison. Like the hujjaj, they're in haram, there are restrictions until they finish their manasik, then they can, the rites of hajj, then they can shave their hair. According to Imam Ahmad, it's wajib, right? So it's something we should do. Like, and then this is the last section, 2 minutes. The prohibition, like the abrogation, the nasakh of the eating of the flesh of the udhiya, the meat from the udhiya, the qurbani, that Imam Malik narrated from Zubayr al-Makki, who narrated from Jabir ibn Abdullah, that Rasulullah prevented from eating. Initially, this hukam was there, that there was a prohibition on eating from the udhiya, right? After 3 days, and after that Rasulullah said, Kulu wa tazawwadu wa dakhiru, then he allowed it after 3 days to eat from it and to store and keep it as a provision. Imam Malik narrated from Abdullah bin Abi Bakr and bin Muhammad bin Amr bin Hazm and from Abdullah bin Waqid and Rasulullah prevented from the eating of the meat of the udhiya for 3 days. Abdullah bin Bakr said, as I mentioned this to Amr bint Abd Rahman, she said, you've told the truth. He told the truth. I heard Aisha radiallahu anha, the wife of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying, the people that used to come from the countryside, they come for the udhiya in the time of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the poor people from the outskirts, the villages, they come. And the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that idakhiru li thalath wa tasaddaqu ma baqiya, that just keep for the 3 days and then give sadaqah with the rest. After this, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that people used to benefit from because the people used to come and they benefit from the udhiya, and they used to take it with them, and they used to fill their bags with them when they take it. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam initially prevented us from that for 3 days. And then afterwards Rasulullah ﷺ allowed it, because in the early time there was poor people that used to come, and that was not so later on. And just the last narration, similar narration, the Rabi' ibn Abi Rahman narrated from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri that he came in journey and he come to his family, he brought to his family, he put some meat to family, that and he said that this is udhiya meat that you're putting before me. Didn't Rasulullah prevent from this? Because Rasulullah after you, meaning you left, Rasulullah ordered, he said to him that Rasulullah he allowed it. And then in narrating, because there's a hadith of Rasulullah, I prevented you from the meat of qurbani, and after 3 days you can eat it and then do charity and store it. And I prevented you from nabidh, which is date mixed with water, a drink. Alcohol can be made from it. It doesn't have to be made from it. Every intoxication is haram. And I prevent you from visiting graves, and now visit the graves and don't say anything bad or wrong.